Hi, my name is Alyssa and I'm with Knob Noster Physical Therapy. Today I will be teaching you the second portion of our hip flexor strengthening series. Today we'll be covering a new exercise that's a little more advanced, but then also some causes of tight hip flexion. So a lot of times our hip flexors tend to be very undertrained and kind of ignored, as they do get that bad rap of being tight, too strong, creating the issue. So a lot of times our hip flexors get tight. It can be due to a variety of reasons. A lot of times any sedentary positions, so like jobs where you're working in a seated position at a computer, or say you're a truck driver, anything like that, that prolonged sitting in that knee flexed position tends to tighten down those hip flexors, as they don't have to lengthen very frequently, and it helps provide a little more stability for the spine in that position. A lot of times we also tend to see hip flexor tightness in any condition that causes like a weak core or abdominal musculature. So this is very common in like women who are pregnant or people with low back pain, that their core isn't working as they need to help stabilize that lumbar spine. So our hip flexors tend to kind of kick in a little bit to produce the motion of that pelvic stability, but then also just trying to keep everything stable as best it can. So our progression today, we are going to require a band. You can also use ankle weights, but the band tends to provide a little more resistance and tends to be a lot better. This is a great exercise for anybody who runs or does any sort of kind of athletic or sport or activity that requires a lot of quick movement and things of that sort. So here today, we're going to place the band around your feet. And here you can either use a wall, a table, anything. You will be supported. So we are going to get into a running type of position. So here we're going to want our body nice and straight, but angled forward. So here I'm going to support myself on the table, and we're going to do what I call a hip flexor march. So here we're going to activate that core. So keeping everything nice and tight here, keeping your body nice and straight. We're going to march that leg up as high as you can, hold it there for a second, and then come back down. You can either do all of your repetitions on one side, or if you want to increase the stability challenge, you can alternate. So this is a great exercise for runners, as this mimics that running position and strengthens those hip flexors in that motion that we need. So this is one thing. I like to start out with nice and slow and controlled, and a little bit longer holds at the top. It is one thing for sprinters or anybody that has to move a little more quickly. So say soccer, baseball, football, anything where there's a lot more faster movements, you can kind of work into that faster range, switching into more of a running movement. If you have any modifications where maybe you can't get into this position, or maybe are not able due to mobility challenges to hold yourself up like that, you can also do this standing up straight too. If you have a wall or something to hold on to, you don't have to necessarily get down into that position. That just helps mimic that running pattern as well. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the clinic or check us out at knobpt.com. Thank you.